Hello, so I just want to speak a bit about the situation in Thailand as I understand it. A quick disclaimer, some of the information coming out right now is not 100% certain. So if there is anything I say in this video that turns out to be inaccurate, I apologize for that in advance. It's not deliberate. This is not a news channel. It's just, let's say, an opinion, analysis, reflection channel. So if any information is misleading, in part it's because there are media restrictions in Thailand right now. So just want to speak about the current situation. Obviously, King Bhumibol passed away a few days ago. There is a whole 1 year period of national mourning, and Thais have been encouraged to wear black. As I understand it, the regent, the king's advisor, has is basically the most powerful person in the kingdom right now. I don't know much about him, but as I understand, he's 96 years old, so this is obviously going to be an interim move. Um, Crown Prince, and I've got to try and pronounce this correctly, Vajiralongkorn. I find Thai names quite difficult to pronounce, so apologies if I've said that wrong. But as I understand, he is waiting. That's the official line anyway. Before, as a mark of respect to his father, before he takes over. Um, he certainly doesn't enjoy anywhere near the popularity of his father. He has a reputation for a somewhat colourful lifestyle, which wouldn't be the first time in royal history, either in Thailand or elsewhere. When our King Edward VIII was close to ascending the throne, he had a reputation as a bit of a playboy. Um, and there's been other examples. So this period of official mourning, I saw the funeral cortege, and naturally the streets of Bangkok were very somber. There's a lot of mixed reports coming out. Some reports suggest that sporting events have been cancelled until the end of the year. Football matches have been cancelled. Um, Businesses have been closed down temporarily. Nightclubs are shut, etc. I don't know how much of that is true. From a practical point of view, with the best will in the world, I don't think they can do that because it would obviously damage the economy. Thailand's a country that relies heavily on tourism, so I can't see that being feasible. I want to address this idea that Thais are not being compelled to wear black. On the surface, that would seem to be true because it is a request and advice from the military junta. But the atmosphere is such that those Thais who choose not to wear black, who are brave enough not to wear black, are going to be targeted by royalists. Why do I say that? Because there is a precedent for this, and because it's just happened. There was an academic in Bangkok yesterday. I don't know the man's name, but his house was attacked by a mob of royalists because of something he perceived to have said online. The police on this occasion came to protect him. But that's the sort of mob mentality that is already being seen. And it really just sums up what I was talking about with extreme royalists. It's shocking but not surprising. And I fear it won't be the last such incident like that. Um, as I mentioned, there was a blogger, an activist who lives in Paris. I'm not going to say much more about that, but she has already been targeted in a very vicious way by the royalists online. The journalist Andrew McGregor Marshall, who I have a lot of respect for because I feel he's one of the relatively few journalists who are brave enough to really confront this issue head on. He's had to temporarily um, close parts of his Facebook profile. I don't think you'll mind me saying this. Um, he's very tolerant. He allows discussion and debate, but he's had to do that simply as a precaution because of the sheer level of abuse that's been going on in his forum. So it's very unfortunate, but not surprising. Now, in terms of this advice, I don't think tourists are going to be compelled to wear black, but as Ambassador and so on have said, comes down to common sense. Now, if I was going to Thailand, I certainly wouldn't be going to parties or anything. That wouldn't be logical at this particular time. But I think it would be stupid if the authorities do compel foreigners to wear black. for someone that they didn't personally know. It's one thing showing a respect, and this is a thing I really want to talk about, this whole concept of when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I do think foreigners should show respect or at least be sensitive to the current situation. I don't think they should be compelled to wear black because it's someone they don't know. I mean, when we have had royal funerals in the UK, we don't expect tourists to wear black. Um, I don't think when American presidents die, they don't expect tourists to wear black, or there's no comparable thing I can think of. Um, so Thai royalists really resent comparisons to North Korea. In some ways, there are differences. Thailand's a lot more open country, gets a lot more tourists. It's more of a member of the international community. And it is true, as Andrew McGregor Marshall said, that there is genuine affection for the king, or at least the myth of the romance around the image that he projects. I think that is sincere. But here's my question. If this claim that all Thais love the king is really true, then why is it those who don't love the king cannot freely express their point of view? Can anyone answer that question? If there's this concept of free will, so actually, it may be that the authorities are not forcing people to wear black, but there's certainly social pressure. That is irrefutable. And the mentality of these royalists is insane. One guy was actually trying to defend the mob behaviour, or at least make excuses for it, and he said the man was targeted because he used impolite language. Impolite language? A mob gathered outside his house. That's where the sense of priority, the sense of moral equilibrium, they've got no concept of these sort of moral analogies. They have this thing about politeness, and yet are willing to use violence against anyone with a different point of view. So I would say to people going to Thailand, certainly exercise caution. Don't go to parties. Don't show that you're sort of celebrating. Indeed, our own Queen, who's now got the record for the world's longest serving head of state, she isn't marking that, obviously for reasons of respect. World leaders have paid respect, partly for diplomatic reasons and partly because I think they believe that is what the perception is. But I just don't accept that all Thais feel the same way because I know that is not the case. It just isn't. One thing I've noticed is there are Westerners that are sort of tapping into this propaganda. And I think there's several legitimate reasons why they're doing it. Firstly, I think they have been to Thailand and they've had a good experience. They've seen the beauty of the country and they've had a hospitable experience. And I don't doubt that they've met friendly Thai people and that's the experience that they have had. But to me, there's a facade here, frankly. Yes, there is that polite aspect and there's that facade of the land of smiles. I've no doubt about it. I've known Thai people personally in my life and certainly they come across as very friendly people. But my perception is that's all very well, but as soon as you get on the wrong side regarding the monarchy, I've personally been threatened by royalists. I've had all sorts of insults. I've been told if I ever come to Thailand, I need to watch my back, etc., simply for making these videos. So this concept of the land of smiles and very friendly, welcoming people, I would challenge that because that is only one side. And I think those Westerners should tap into it. They genuinely believe it. Some of them are influenced because they have Thai girlfriends. Um, and I'm not attacking mixed relations, by the way. I've been in mixed relations myself, but I know for a fact that you can be influenced by your partner. It's just common sense. So I actually saw a guy from Manchester the other day, and I felt furious. This was a white British guy threatening a Thai dissident, and I'm thinking, my God, I understand extremist Thai royalists doing that, but you're British. What the hell? And I laid into him. I got into a bit of a back and forth because I thought his behaviour was disgusting. Um, and I think these people think that they're enlightened. They think that, oh, I'm all worldly wise. I'm being respectful to the Thai people. Now, look, this is my stance on it. There is nothing wrong with being respectful when you travel. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. If I go to Thailand, I'm going to be respectful. But I'm not going to slavishly follow the lie. I'm not going to slavishly agree with people when this is blatantly not the case. So those Westerners who are saying that, I think they're saying it partly because they believe it, and partly because they couldn't be honest even if they wanted to. There's only a minority of people who are willing to speak out because the easier thing is to stay silent or to toe into the propaganda. Um, so that seems to be the current situation. There is rumours that the crown princess, I forget her name, but there's rumours that the authorities would prefer her because she's a much more savoury private life. So I don't know what's going to happen. It could certainly take a while for the official coronation to take place. As I understand it, when Bhumibol was crowned, it was actually a low-key ceremony, which was somewhat surprising given the personality cult that definitely exists. A lot of Thais have been attacking Western media. They've been attacking the BBC, but that's absurd because the BBC has restrictions on how much it can report. It's a bit like when Chinese communists attack the BBC for perceived bias. Again, China is a country that has serious restrictions. So you cannot complain about foreign media getting information wrong if foreign media is restricted in what they can actually say. If you want journalists to do their job and report the full news, you have to give them access to that information. Simple. So there's a lot of phony reactions coming out here in terms of the hypocrisy of these reactions. I'm going to round this up, but all I would say is I'm aware the situation is sensitive. I respect that. I understand that. But people shouldn't just believe what they're hearing from royalist propaganda and from hardcore Thai royalists. Of course, they're going to say all the Thai people love the king, etc. That is not true. It just isn't. That you could get the perception that most Thai people love the king, but the fact of the matter is, Thai Republicans and even moderate Thai royalists cannot freely express their views. They just can't. Because of the very severe interpretation of Article 112, the lèse majesté laws, there simply isn't freedom of expression when it comes to issues of monarchy. So, if people are blaming the foreign media for getting information wrong, start with blaming the restrictions on the press. That's the problem. Practically, they're not going to be able to shut down the country for a whole year. That's obvious, as it would seriously damage the economy. I don't know if this is going to be the beginning of the end of the lèse majesté culture. I detest it. I think it is basically a war on free expression. And as for this attitude, oh, it's Western values being imposed on Thailand, this whole thing about Asian values has been used by numerous authoritarian regimes in Asia. But it's something I reject because there have been Asian leaders like Aung San Suu Kyi and the former president of South Korea. Unfortunately, I forget the guy's name now, which is irritating because he's Kim Dae Jung. Kim Dae Jung. They were real icons of democracy. Another example is Cory Aquino in the Philippines. So I don't accept that it's this thing about the West imposing its ways because there have been Asian leaders who agree that for democracy you need freedom of expression and human rights. So I just don't accept that it's some sort of Western conspiracy. That's basically an excuse by people who want to defend this absurd situation. So I hope, I don't know if the Crown Prince is going to be more forward thinking. Of course, this is difficult because by nature, being a constitutional monarchy, the monarch can't change this criminal code. But if Thais really respect King Bhumibol, then they should consider what he said in 1995, or maybe it was 2005. I am not above criticism. He said that himself. So if they really respect the king, then why not take his advice and abolish these hideous laws? Article 112 needs to go because so long as that exists, Thailand simply isn't a true democracy. And I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm saying it because it is a statement of fact. You cannot have democracy when such a law violates basic freedom of expression. That is common sense. It's just fact. Um, so I'll round it up there. I'm sure there will be many other talking points that I haven't raised here. I'm sure I'll think of things afterwards, but I'll leave it for there for now. To those Westerners who are really banging this. I understand you want to be respectful, and there's nothing wrong with that. But all I would say is understand that this polite face that you think that you're seeing, I've seen the other side. I've seen the thuggish, extremist, royalist behaviour as well. That's anything but polite. And the Thais I respect are those brave Thais who speak out.